Hello everyone, welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. What is Plarium doing? What is Plarium planning with these events coming to Raid Shadow Legends? Basically, we have some good news as well, but I do want to point a couple of things out that I really find in a way concerning, but then in a way I know it's a business, I know they gotta do their own money, I know a lot of people will be pissed as usual, and yeah, just another day here at the office basically. I'm gonna tell you guys what 10x we're gonna have this weekend. We do have a guaranteed event, so we have a Void Epic guaranteed event. I think it's a pretty good one. Now, the amount of shards compared to the previous ones that we had for the last couple of months is a bit higher, right? So I'm gonna start with the guaranteed event because I know that's the main thing that the majority of you guys will wanna hear, and then we're gonna go over to the other things that are a bit concerning, a bit annoying, a bit... Yeah, you know how it goes. So we're gonna have a guaranteed event for no one else but Akimtum. So basically this bad boy is gonna be up for a grab from 30 Void Shards. We're planning to launch a guaranteed champion event simultaneously with the 10x event. So that's gonna start Friday all the way to Sunday. And it's gonna cost you 30 Void Shards to get a guaranteed Akimtum, okay? Now Akimtum is an amazing epic champion. 100%, very solid, speed aura for all battles, decent base stats. The A1 attacks one enemy 3 times, a chance to place poisons. If the target is under a hex debuff, has a chance to apply a debuff spread, taking one random debuff from the target and spreading it on all the enemies. Is one of the best debuff spread champions in the entire game. The A2 attacks all enemies 3 times. Each hit has a 60% chance of increasing the duration of any hex debuff on enemies by 1 turn. If it's not a hex, on the enemies has a 60% chance of placing the hex. And this is with every single hit, guys. So if you fully book the champion, it's going to be a 75% chance to apply the debuff or extend the duration with each hit. So it's almost a better chance than having a single hit with a 100% chance to do it, basically, because it's every single hit. And this is on a 3-turn cooldown. Then the passive has a 100% chance fully booked of inflicting damage from one poison debuff to enemies under a hex debuff whenever their allies receive damage from poison debuffs. So he's a beast in Hydra clan boss. Definitely solid for faction wars, like there's no doubt there. You can use him in different content too, like if you are still looking at progression in Fire Knight, for example, he's gonna do a solid job too because of the multi-hits. And all around, I feel like there are different places where you can use the champion, including the Spider Dungeon and relying on the Hex strategy. So definitely a pretty good example. I feel like the way his passive works and all this deals a lot of damage on the Spider Queen on hard mode, with the changes and the hacks and all this. So he's gonna be a great champion to use in these areas of the game, you know. Then moving over to the next concerning thing. So we got the new Fire Knight champion, the Fusion. Ganut, Nuts, Newts, whatever. Everybody calls that champion differently. And you know what? I gave up at trying to get his name right. Nuts. I'm gonna call him Nuts, okay? So basically, that champion completely changed the Fire Knight dungeon. Not only that, but it changed a lot of different bosses in the game because he's so freaking amazing, right? And it just shows that bringing one champion for the Fire Knight, it completely changed that dungeon on hard mode. So now we have quite a few different options. More teams are coming every single day. Yesterday, when I've done the Fire Knight video, or the day before, the record was around 1 minute and 10 seconds. Yesterday, me and a friend of mine, we managed to knock it down to 106. Over the night, another friend of mine knocked it down to 54 seconds. And all these are different teams, you know. So we'll be seeing a lot of other things coming in the next few days. And all that because of Nuts. Now you've seen a lot of people started using Martyr in the Fire Knight. And as a surprise, we're gonna have Martyr on the 10x. Before, people were using Valkyrie on the Fire Knight. And as a surprise, the next 10x was Valkyrie. And now we have Martyr. But the main thing that is the most annoying part is that we have this new system, right? So we have this new summon pool system, the prism shards. And I know a lot of you guys love it because maybe you got lucky and you got a free summon and that got you excited. Basically, this is the Nyrezen summon pool. And if you pay attention, we are missing champions from here. We have no Mountain King, we have no Harima, which Harima is not a Void legendary. We have no Void champions whatsoever, and guess what we have on the 10x? Yes, Harima coming on the 10x. Now, I thought that Plarium is making this system to give people a better chance at summoning the champions that are in the game. But at the same time, they're still keeping the 10 axes in the exact same way. They added a new currency, but I'm gonna discuss all this in a different video. I don't wanna go too long on here. The main point is, Harima is not in this summon pool, but guess what? She is coming in on the 10x. And I find this concerning, a bit alarming. I know it's a business, they need to make their money, but I find this very, very nasty. You know, like, you don't put the one champion that's probably one of the most desired champions from this faction, this union, the Nyresian union. You don't put her in there, you know, and then you just bring her around on the 10x during the same event, you know. So it's kind of like a big slap in the face. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. So this 10x, guys. Let me start with Harima because we are here. So we're gonna have Harima on the 10x. Basically, this is kind of like a provoke 10x, right? The provoker. Provoke me to provoke you back, basically. We have a chance to land decrease attack right here. She's a beast of a champion, Harima. Then you have attacks one enemy 3 times. She decreases the target's defense with each hit, stacking up to 30%. She increases her defense with each hit, stacking all the way up to 100%. If you kill a target with this skill, she will instantly activate the A3, which will attack all enemies and will place a provoke for 1 turn. Now, Harima is very powerful against champions from the demon spawns, for example. This debuff cannot be blocked or resisted if the target champion is from the demon spawn faction. Her passive, enemy ignore defense effects are decreased by 50%. Savage sets, cruel sets, all the champions that have ignore defense in their skills will actually get a 50% reduction on that, you know. Champions from the Demon Spawn faction cannot inflict critical hits on this champion. This champion cannot land weak hits on champions from the Demon Spawn faction. Basically, Harima takes a Duchess, a Kendraphone, and any other Demon Spawn champion and will have them for breakfast, okay? That's what Harima does. Plus, we have a resistance aura in arena battles, 80 resistance. Very good base stats. The next champion that we have on the 10x, guys, will be no one else but Molly the Tankard. She was a previous fusion as well. It's been probably a couple of years, I think 2 years since she was the fusion. And basically with the A1, guys, she attacks one enemy. With the A2, places a provoke debuff on all enemies. She does have a 50% chance to place the provoke for 2 turns instead of 1 turn, and places a reflect damage buff on this champion on a 3-turn cooldown. With the A3, revives an ally with 50% HP, fills the turn meter by 50%, places a block damage buff on that ally for 1 turn on a 4-turn cooldown, and of course, fills the turn meter of all allies by 15% when this champion is hit. And fills the turn meter of all allies by 25% if the champion is hit by a boss. And this has a 1-turn cooldown. Very interesting champion, great for Hydra. A lot of these champions will be good for Hydra because of the provoke, you know, and they're actually pretty solid. Moving over to the next legendary champion that we have, and I already mentioned, is no one else but Martyr. So she is one of the 3 counter-attack champions that we have in the game. Pretty solid champion. I didn't thought that she will be getting a bit of a comeback to the end game because she's amazing for progression. I've always mentioned that out of the 3 counter-attack champions, you want to get Valkyrie. She's the GOAT, the MVP. Martyr, she was amazing for progression, but she used to kind of like go down in the end game. Now, she's actually very useful for the Fire Knight, for example. You know, she's a pretty strong champion. I feel like she always kind of like kept a good value because of the counterattacks being so scarce, right? So on the A1, she has a chance to land defense down. She places increased defense and counterattack on all allies on a 3-turn cooldown. Then with the A3, attacks all enemies and has a chance to land a decrease attack and a provoke on all enemies on a 4-turn cooldown. And we have a defense aura for all battles. All around, she's a pretty solid champion. Very good base stats. She's not very fast, but just the defense, the HP, she's a tanky champion. Moving over to the Void legendary that we're gonna have on this event, guys, is gonna be no one else but, you guessed it right, Grazur Iron God. The new beast coming from the east. And with the A1, attacks all enemies, places a shield on all allies except the champion. The value of the shield is proportional to this champion's defense. This is a beast of a champion for Hydra clan boss. Just great champion all around, man. This champion does a lot. The A2 attacks all enemies again. Healing bombardment. Heals this champion by 10% of the damage dealt. Increases the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn on a 3-turn cooldown. Damage based on enemy max HP. Very, very nasty skill. On the A3, attacks all enemies. 100% chance to land provoke for 1 turn. Places an increased resistance and an increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Very, very nice. And this champion can be great build maybe on the new Hex set, for example, on the Curse set, you know, for Hydra, and you have Hex like this. Or you can build him on many different sets. Relentless is gonna be a beast to constantly have the provoke up, to constantly have that enemy max HP hit, you know. It's gonna be pretty nice. The passive, which is kind of like a Vogot on steroids, whenever this champion is attacked, heals all allies except this champion by 70% of the damage received, only heals by 35% of the damage dealt. Received from bosses, sorry. This effect has no cooldown. The active effect places an unkillable buff on this champion for 1 turn before receiving a fatal hit. Very nice. And increases ally defense in all battles by 33%. Truly a void legendary champion. Okay, definitely an awesome champion. And of course, we're gonna have some epics. I'm not gonna go to read all their kits, guys. Now, I have one that I can't remember from what faction he is, so I'm gonna have to find him. But we're gonna start with Vogot. So Vogot is going to be on the 10x. Great champion. I mentioned he has a very interesting passive that heals the team as well. It has a chance to land provoke. Right here is very similar with Grazur's passive. Then right here has another chance of placing provoke and decrease attack. With the A1 attacks one enemy 3 times, has a chance to increase the duration of a random debuff, accuracy aura in all battles. Vogot is a very solid epic champion. Then we have another solid epic, that's Toragi the Frog. I think he is on the new Prism Shard system, and he's on the 10x at the same time. Toragi, decrease attack on the A1, provoke on the A2. Then we have a shield and ally protection on all allies, reflect damage on the champion, and the heal increases by 2.5% for each poison debuff on the enemy team. So he gets to heal a bit as well. The passive, when attacked, has a chance to land a poison debuff on the attacker. Resistance aura for all battles. And then we have Skuramis. I think is the new high elf, if I'm not mistaken. And that is he? Yes, this one. So this one as well is the last epic that we have on. A chance to land a stun. Decrease attack right here and decreases the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn. Gets a bit of turn meter and provoke, counter attack and continuous heal on this champion. These are the 10x champions, guys. The guaranteed champion. And of course, how I mentioned, I do find the whole situation of the new Prism Shard system and not having Harima there, bringing her on the 10x and bringing the champions that are kind of like quickly becoming popular for new content or stuff like this quickly on the 10x is a bit nasty, you know, but it's a business. They gotta do what they gotta do, I guess. That was all for this video. Much love, and I'll catch you all soon in the next one. Peace.